Siesta Sand Live is broadcast from Captain Kurt's Village. It's Siesta Key's home to great food, great drinks, great music, and great times. Look for the giant American flag.
Welcome to Siesta Sand Live. I'm your host, Natalie Gutwein, and I'm coming to you from the stage of Captain Kurt's. It's a little bit cold today on Siesta Key, but it's still beautiful and sunny. We have an incredible lineup for you. Today, I've got Judie Berger, #1 realtor on Siesta Key for the last 20 years, and I've asked her to come on and talk about what's going on in Siesta Key in 2025, what happened in 2024, what we can expect going forward. And then we also have Jean Cannon. Jean has been involved in Siesta Key for many years, and she's doing the reef project that is helping make our canals more clean and beautiful. So stay tuned. I've got a great show today.
The next segment is brought to you by the Judie Berger team, part of Sotheby's International Realty. Whether a buyer or a seller, you'll be delighted with their service. And by Altez Vacations. It's the perfect place to go to find that perfect place to rent.
Hello, and welcome to Siesta Sand Live. I'm here with Judie Berger. Judie Berger has been the top-selling realtor on Siesta Key for the last 20 years. You've lived on Siesta Key for 30 years. You've been with Sotheby's for 19 years. So I wanted to bring you on I wanted to talk about, I really wanted to get the state of Siesta Key real estate after all these hurricanes. So we just finished up the year end. I know you and I both spent a lot of time looking at the numbers, really diving into what's going on, and I wanted to get your opinion. You're the expert here on Siesta Key. You're who everybody else calls and says, Judie, what do you think this house is worth? And
or how deep is the water?
Right.
How high is the bridge?
Yeah.
Can this size boat?
Yeah, right, yes. Yeah,
So,
everybody calls Judie for those questions. So I wanted to bring you on and just, what do you think about this year? Where did the numbers end? I was surprised to see what I found.
I'm feeling extremely optimistic about everything on Siesta. Time will tell. There are a lot of changes going on, but when we looked at the stats, the end-of-year stats, we've been tracking stats every quarter on Siesta Key for every single stat possible since 2009. So I have spreadsheets that are immense, and we track them every quarter, and we average them out, and we compare year over year over year. And in my charts, I always keep the last 5 years. So the interesting thing is the active listings, the bottom line is 2024 was a better year than 2023.
Isn't that crazy?
Even with the hurricane. Even our fourth quarter was stronger in both single family and condos. The amount of active listings that came on the market for condos were less, of course, because a lot of the condos were shut down.
Right.
But we've checked and checked and rechecked these stats, and honestly, I've gone over them with our operations manager, and thinking that there was something wrong. But the interesting thing is, active listings for single family were almost identical at the end of the year. So properties that were on the market for sale at the end of 2023 were 106.
And what was it for 24?
104.
Yeah.
So now, of course, some properties were taken off the market, but we always take properties off the market in the third quarter before hurricane season, because it's our dead slow time to sell on Siesta Key. But the numbers are so strong. We are at about a 95% list to sales price. And it varies year to year to year, anywhere between, I think on a low side, maybe 92%, and on a really solid year, not
Well, 2022, we had 100%, but that was a
100%.
statistical anomaly. That was COVID
but it wasn't
year.
every house either.
Right.
So a really strong year is 96%, and we're right at 95% now. So the numbers are staggering, staggeringly good.
They are. Yeah, I think a lot of people think that there's going to be this fire sale here on Siesta Key.
No, and there has not
We're not
been.
seeing it. No,
No.
we're still we're holding strong.
Yeah.
Our price per square foot has risen.
It's solid. Everything is solid. Homes in 2024, on average, that sold were smaller than 2023. So the per square foot price was a little bit different because they probably didn't have the high-end finishes that some of the properties, the newer construction that probably closed in 2023. But even our fourth quarter stats on single family, there were only currently there's 117 single family homes for sale, which is not many. I mean, that's a good number.
Yeah.
And of those, we have 22 pending and 28 have closed. So we are currently doing very, very well. Our average sales prices over year over year, if you average them out, they're 11% higher
than 23
at the end of 24 than they were in 2023. Condos were down a little bit, and that could have been because of,
I think that's a function of what's going on with the
I think
hurricanes.
people just couldn't close, or again, it's the slowest time of the year, but it was a little bit off for condos. But our forecast, we are poised for growth. The properties that are selling because they were damaged, they're selling in a couple of different ways. If the properties were not remediated, they are being sold as teardowns, strictly teardowns, land value, and those are selling. Those are
All right,
coming
they
to the
are.
market, and they're selling. It's giving builders an opportunity to build, which will increase new construction. Then there are the properties that have been remediated, that are good properties, that aren't really tear downs. You could tear them down, but you also could renovate them. And as long as you're within the 50% rule for FEMA with the renovations, then we will have those properties back in inventory if the people are ready to sell, or if a lot of people are renovating them and moving back in. I still have not heard of too many people that lost their homes from flooding, or they didn't lose them, but their homes were damaged from the flooding. I haven't heard of too many people not staying in their homes. They're coming back. They're all excited. My neighborhood in Siesta Isles, they're all excited to keep the neighborhood intact. As far as I know, we have no teardowns due to the storm.
In Siesta Isles. That's great.
Yeah, it's been great. A lot of construction trucks.
Right. There's a lot of rebuilding. Yeah, I was out with a buyer the other day, and we were looking at all the.
Yeah.
We're looking for something for him to either do the renovations or buy something that has been renovated. And it's different. It's not anything that we've had before. But it's just the new way of life here on Siesta.
The majority of the homes that are being offered for land value only were the oldest structures on Siesta. They weren't historic. They were cute, and there was a flavor of Siesta Key that we will lose. But they were a lot of them, we lovingly called them shacks.
Right. Yeah.
So they were ready for teardown. They were ripe for teardown anyway.
Right.
And we're going to have beautiful homes built on those lots. We'll have families moving in that are building these homes for their beach houses or their primary residences. So things will change, and then we will have I believe, and I have talked to a couple of appraisers, I believe that at some point the prices will rise, and they have to rise because new construction will drive all of the prices up. And then the inventory of the homes that are the older homes that are renovated will now have a higher price tag also because they're now renovated.
Right. So it's going to bring, overall, in the end, it is going to bring our numbers up.
It will.
People keep saying that to me. What do you mean prices are going to go up? Well, it's exactly what you just said.
Exactly. And I don't say that lightly. As you know, I've been dealing with my house totally flooded, my cars, my home office, my Siesta Village office, my boyfriend's 2 houses, his 2 vehicles.
You lost almost everything.
So I don't say this lightly. And I've been here for 30 years, so I'm not in a hurry for Siesta Key to change. But I think the change that we will have will be good. The sad part is the people that did have the older homes,
Right.
the prices will rise. They probably, with the FEMA 50% rules, a lot of those people can't rebuild.
Right. And that was one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, because I know you've done a deep dive into that because of your own home. You've been suggesting to our clients that they get appraisals from a FEMA 50% rule expert, and we do have some that we recommend. You were working with one of our listings, and I was shocked at how much of a difference it made when he did the appraisal versus just what the county
Property
said that they
appraisers.
had. Right, the property appraiser's 50%.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like $1 million.
Yeah, and part of that is that, in the property appraiser's office, they don't visit every house.
Right.
Houses sell and they sell again, and each owner does work.
Right,
in the
and most
home to
people don't
improve it.
complain because they don't want to pay more in taxes.
Well, and it's not that they don't necessarily even have to do the work that would increase their taxes. It's, they're putting in new kitchens and new bathrooms and new flooring and updating the homes, and maybe they're not moving walls. If they're moving walls and doing big permitted items, then the property appraiser's office knows about it because they're permitted.
right, they're pulling the permits,
Yeah,
and
so
then it
but
gets
what's
raised.
happened is these homes, and if you're a long-time homeowner, since 1997, we've had the Save Our Homes reduction on the property taxes. So the good and the bad about that is your property value assessment as a long-time homeowner, if you've owned since 1997, or any time from 1997 to recent, your property taxes have been held lower.
Constant, right.
Therefore, the property appraiser, even though we have what's called just market value with the property appraiser's office, it's not real estate market value.
Right. And a lot of people don't understand that. They
Yeah.
see that number and they think that that's what a house should be worth if they're the buyer on the other side of it.
Right.
And it's not. They don't
That's-
realize if it's homesteaded, it's
No.
been capped
That's
every
right.
year.
Every year, and when you call the property appraiser or the building department, they'll say, oh, we'll add 20% to that. But even if you added 20% to that, my house is an example. The structure, because I've lived in this house for 12 years, and I ported my homestead. That's a whole other subject.
Right,
But I
from
ported
your
my homestead
previous
from my
sale.
previous home that I have lived in since 1995. So that kept my property taxes lower as a full-time resident. And so then in porting it, it kept my values low. And over the years, the property appraiser's office has reduced the value of the older structures. They've depreciated, but they haven't really depreciated the package. So while our structures are worth less, the land is worth more. So with everything, with having to go and present building permits and plans under the depreciated value of your older structure, if it's on grade, people they're shocked. So in my structure was $128,000
On the property appraiser's
on
website.
the property appraiser's website. And that's all well and good when
If you're just living there and paying taxes and you're not really doing anything, it really
Right.
didn't matter.
Exactly.
But then
But, it
the
mattered if
hurricanes
you were
hit.
going to do a major renovation. But then everyone knew that if you're going to do a major renovation, you have an appraisal done so that you know what your real dollars are that you are permitted to spend, which would be 50% of the value of the structure and the improvements in the structure. My appraiser, who's a very well-known appraiser here, appraised my home for FEMA before and after the hurricane, and it's the before value that we are allowed to use, and it appraised for 3 times what
the property appraiser
the
website
property
said.
appraiser, yeah. So I'm trying to decide what to do with my house still. We focused on one after losing 3 houses. We focused on getting one that we moved into the guest house recently. But yeah, there's a lot to know. So there are so many people that at first they said, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to tear my house down."
Right.
But
There was a lot of knee-jerk reaction going
Yeah.
on around here, and then
Yeah.
and that's what you were telling people all
Right.
along. Just let the dust settle.
Yeah.
Let's see how this is going to play out. and it's actually ended up not being
Yeah.
near as bad as people initially thought.
Not nearly. And people have choices. And
Mm-hmm.
early on, I mean, last time I was here was about 2 months ago, and people, it was very traumatic trying to make decisions when you're,
Right.
you're traumatized.
You were still very, very traumatized at that point.
Right.
A lot of people were. Yeah.
Exactly, because it's a financial thing, it's a personal thing,
Well, and
it's
it's
a time thing.
everything. Everything you own is wet and
Yeah.
soggy, and you're just standing there and you
Yeah.
don't know what to do. I mean, I
Yeah.
told you I walked in your house and just started crying. It's not
Yeah.
my house, but
Yeah.
I was overcome by just
Yeah.
the emotion and everything
just
that
the
everybody
sheer
was
the
going
magnitude
through.
of everything that you'd be facing also.
Mm-hmm.
So, things are working out, I said baby steps. This is my year of baby steps. And, but it's all good. It's all good. Change, it's a paradigm shift
Mm-hmm.
for so many people, businesses, the homeowners, the people that are coming here and want to live here. And time will tell how our weather holds out through the next
Right.
season. But so far, all is good. It's all positive. I'm very, very optimistic about the future on Siesta and in Sarasota in general.
I am too. The numbers, when I researched my article for what will be the February issue, I just kept doing the same thing, looking at it going, wow, we
Yeah.
actually had a great year.
We did. Yeah.
Finished strong in the fourth quarter, 2024.
Yeah.
And I think going into 2025, what are you seeing?
Well, we're going, everything feels the same. It's funny. I get calls from our clients who maybe we are about to launch their homes, or their homes, we put them on mid-year, and, they had to go through a hurricane season. They want to know, what do you think? Everything feels normal to me.
It does, right.
It feels...
We have a lot of listings coming on, but that's always January. That's
We
the
do.
way
We've been
we work
preparing.
hard all fall. We put them on January.
And none
hope
of them
them
are
sell
for
before
panic
season.
reasons, unless, the people were totally flooded and they have chosen not to do the renovation for personal reasons. Maybe they were going to move up north or out west anyway, and they were never going to move back into the house. So those people, they're just going to sell the houses as they are. But yeah, everything else just feels so good. We've got buyers coming down. The weather's getting colder up north. It's a little chilly
Right.
here today.
It's chilly today.
I got my
but
jacket out.
tomorrow. Right, I've got my long
I get
sleeves
to wear
on.
my long sleeve dress for once.
Right, I keep this turtleneck in the back of the closet because I have to whip it out every 2 or 3 times a year. But
So,
tomorrow it'll be totally back to normal.
Yeah, and as long as they're not golfing in their shirt sleeves up north,
Yep.
if it drives them down here, we'll have, our clients will be back. And a lot of the clients are waiting. There are so many people that had scheduled rentals here that would be our buyers, and they're still trying to find a rental because so many of the rentals, the condo buildings had shut down for a while, and everybody's trying to figure out still, they're scrambling for rentals. I know we were in a
right.
rental. We had to get out of our rental because the vacation people were still
There's
coming.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
where I'm seeing kind of a shakeup
Yeah.
is a little bit more in the condo market.
Yeah.
I don't think the condo market is quite as stable as the single family market. There's still some variables in that single
Yeah.
family it's worked its way out a little bit quicker.
I think it's just like living in a condo, you're not the one that's totally in control
right.
of things that go on there. And it's so collective where it's the community. The community has to be fixed
Right.
up. The pools might still have some renovation. They may have to, if it's a larger condo complex, they have to inspect every single unit before they can give it a blanket okay. So it's different from the single family, because single family home, you get
Right, it's your house, your decision.
Get your FEMA stuff ready if it's a FEMA repair. If not, if it was just your lower level or your garage, you get your contractors in to clean everything up, fix them up, and you're up and ready to go. It's the difference between single family homes and condos. But the
Right.
condos, the complex we were staying in, you would not have known there had been a hurricane there. We moved in.
No, they had such.
It was crazy.
That's one of the things I've been surprised about is a lot of people just assume that the entire island
Yeah.
was wiped,
Yeah.
and it wasn't. There were some places that got almost no damage,
Next
water
door to each
or
other.
wind.
I just talked to someone yesterday that one of the houses I know that totally flooded was next door to a house that didn't flood at all. And
wow.
I am still shocked at the areas that I talk to people, and they're still, business as usual. They had no flooding, so it was very localized as to the areas. And there were other properties that I would have thought for sure flooded. And when I'm checking back with the owners, they had little or no flooding. They may have had flooding in the yard. So, yeah, it was...
So many people that have said, the water came right up to my door.
Right, and the grass is dead, but the house was fine. Mm-hmm. So it's there is no standard here.
No.
It's house by house by house, condo complex by condo complex. So, it's all good. For the properties that were unaffected or have been repaired, it's all good.
So do you have any advice for, what about for a buyer coming into this market? What should a buyer look for, be aware of?
Well, in condos, one of the wild cards right now for buyers and for sellers are the assessments. And in some of the subdivisions that have homeowners associations, that have a collective cleanup, there are going to be some assessments if they have common areas that they own. So I would say for condos, be aware of assessments, ask a lot of questions. Always read your condo docs.
Right.
And it has to be disclosed. That all has to be disclosed on the condo rider and in the condo disclosures. And the same thing for single-family homes. And I would say you ask the same questions, especially in single-family homes. Did it flood? If it flooded, how much? What rooms were affected? And what did you do to correct it? And do you have receipts for those repairs? So it's just buyer beware.
Right.
And work with a great realtor that knows how to ask those questions and how to find out the answers for you.
Right. So it's just a return to the norm. It's the same thing. It's always knowing asking for the right questions, getting the condo docs, going back 12 months of minutes at the meetings.
Yep.
If you're doing it the right way to begin with, it really didn't change.
Right. And what we'll have is with condos, because the assessments are a bit unknown right now. Mm-hmm. So if we have assessments coming up, we're going to see a lot of, I believe, escrow accounts at closing.
That's what I think, too.
And because if someone wants to sell a condo and someone wants to buy a condo, the only point in between that would prevent that is what are the assessments?
Right.
Who's going to pay them and what are they? And if we don't know the answer to that, the answer is an escrow account and to work with a great attorney or a great title company just to make sure that you're protected.
Right. Well, thank you very much for coming on. I always appreciate your advice.
My pleasure.
You did a lot of research for today, and I appreciate it. And we'll have you back on soon to talk about what's going on. Hopefully, it's a nice, beautiful day the next time you come on.
Well, it's sunny. It might be cold.
It is sunny, right?
Sunny. And we still get to do the Siesta Key side, right? We come over that bridge.
Yep.
We're home.
That's right. Well, thanks for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Thanks, Judy.
Bye-bye.
The following segment is brought to you by Beach Bazaar, located in the heart of Siesta Village. Everything for the beach, and we do mean everything. And by FAM Development, the area's best in custom-built homes. Start living your dream on and around Siesta Key.
Hi, welcome back. I am here with Jean Cannon, longtime resident of Siesta Key, fellow board member of the Siesta Key Association.
Yeah.
So how many years have you been involved with Siesta Key?
Well, about 4 to 5 years I've been with Siesta Key, but I've been on the island since 1996. So it's been a wonderful, wonderful time to be on that beautiful island, for sure.
Right. Yeah. We do have a beautiful island. We're blessed.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was retired in 2014, and I began some things with entrepreneurs. I worked at H. Friendly Sarasota, the organization, nonprofit, for about 3 years. And then they went bust. They went through their money too fast. So then I joined a entrepreneur network over in Bradenton. That got to be too much travel. So then I looked around, and I always loved both Siesta Key Association and the Condo Association. So I decided to get involved with them and ended up asking for a seat on the Siesta Key Board of Directors, Association Board of Directors. That was probably just about 2019, just before COVID.
Perfect timing, should they say.
Absolutely.
So you have been integral working with the mini-reef. Can you talk a little bit about how that all got started and what is the mini-reef program?
Okay. I always was involved with the environment. It was always important to me to have an age-friendly area where people could walk and we could be comfortable. And in 2018, we had a red tide event, which was really devastating for our water and our fish. So it became something I wanted to get more involved in. Is what do we do with the water? And one of the things I found is that while the canal was looking good, we were losing habitat, the way the houses were being built and the seawalls were being put in. And the seawalls are really great for the houses. And they do okay because about 2 years we get oysters on them, but we couldn't keep them. So I went looking for what kind of devices could we do to bring back the habitat, to put the habitat back in our water so we could do
The fish, the oyster.
right. Yeah, the marine juvenile marine life. So the fish had a place to stay because, they don't want to be out in the open because they get eaten. So they have to hide. So I found an entrepreneur. His name is David Wolf, and he had built a mini-reef as part of a project with the University of Florida. And he's in Ocala. So he and I got together, and he showed me it, and we decided to go ahead and try to sell them through the Siesta Key Association. And we would work and combine the resources of Siesta Key Association to be able to do the administrative side to get them into the water. We did 20, the early part of 2020. It took a little while because of the COVID. We didn't get started till about June or July when I had wanted to start earlier. And we got that done, and we were really excited about what we saw as some of the changes. So we decided to go to the county. Siesta, not Siesta, but Sarasota County has a really great neighborhood initiation grant program. So we went to the county with the neighborhood initiation grant program, said we wanted to apply, and we would put in mini-reefs with the $10,000 that they gave us. So we ended up in this canal behind us, is Waterside East. We ended up with over 38 docks that signed up for these mini-reefs. And we put them in November of 2021. That was our biggest concentration at the time. And it was just amazing what we saw in a year. About a year later, we were seeing dolphins coming here regularly, bringing their babies in to eat off the mini-reef. So from there, I just got more excited about doing different things. We ended up in 4 years with 480 docks in Siesta Key waters with mini-reefs.
Wow, I had no idea it had grown to that.
And we've gone from the north end of Siesta Key all the way down to the south end of Siesta Key with these mini-reefs. Now, we've done reasonably well in the storms. So you know how the storms have been so devastating to our waters. The mini-reefs are held up, but we do find we have to watch the ropes. We have to tie them back up once in a while. They get loose off the docks. As long as the dock stays in place, we usually keep them without trouble.
Like, kind of look like a milk carton to me. But they're not.
First of all, they're made out of polycarbonate. Will last over 50 years in the water. By the time they get to be 4 or 5, maybe even 10 years, they won't move. They get so heavy with the marine life that they don't move, and they're crusted with it. So they'll last a lot longer than the shoots, because they're so heavy. And that's the good thing, because that's what holds them in the water when the storms come because of the weight. This area here, we've only had one reef that's been loose because it's been in the water for 3 years. So that was pretty good. That's a pretty good testimony as to what they can do.
What is the website people can go to because the video of the mini reefs is spectacular. You can see the fish going in and out. You can see, it's sort of like a plume, I would almost call it, when you're looking at it and you can see an area around the reef that's clean.
Yes, you can. And where you go is the Siesta Key Association 1947. a YouTube website. We've got our videos from our meetings. So our meeting videos for Siesta Key Association are there. If you're not able to attend, you can watch the video of the meeting. But you can also see the work we've been doing in the water with the different videos that we had. So the first thing we did was to work on the mini-reefs to start bringing back the habitat. The second thing we did was we said, we need to find a way to be more sustainable. So our goal then was to reach out to we've got Outdoor Academy and we've got Sarasota High School. Both have marine biology curriculums for the students. So what we've done is we reached out to both of those schools and we've got programs going with both of them. We build vertical oyster gardens. Students build them. They drill holes in the oyster shells, put them on strings. We work with them on getting the right dimensions for the strings, and then we help them find people's docks to install them under so that they can help, again, pull more marine life in. Oysters will seed in April and catch onto these and grow into balls on the road. And then, of course, the fish will come because the oysters provide food for the fish. And then once the fish get there, you get bigger fish. So they just grow into a
Growing.
Yeah. So those are good programs. But what we do with those programs is we bring in Sarasota County Stormwater Management. And they provide education why it's so important. This canal was built to be a recreation, but it was also built as a side thing to pull the stormwater off. And why it's so important to be able to make sure that we don't throw our oil in there. We get enough from the roads, but also making sure we don't throw palm fronds or glass clippings, things like that. So debris, period. That's right. Try to keep the water as clean as we can. So we figure if we start with the kids, that they will carry this with them and the message will come through.
Right.
So that's our goal. And we put education around whatever we do. And that what we do with different schools is different things. Like, look, the other thing we've done is with the county, we do stenciling on stormwater systems, which say something like, don't put anything, nothing but water in here because I feed the fish. So we try to do things that are fun and educational, stencils that we put on that are colorful, catch your eyes. Don't pollute, things like that. So that we thought was good. But the next thing we ran into is that we have a 100-year anniversary of Siesta Key's Grand Canal. 100 years. It started being built in 1925. 1925 was the first cut there to create this canal. So what we decided is, along with Outdoor Academy's 100-year anniversary, we would do a special medallion, stormwater medallion. It's only like the size of, it's not very big, maybe 2 inches around. But with the drawings from the children, it would be done in different colors. And then in the village, you'll tag all storm drains. Don't pollute. And they show the pictures of seabirds and dolphins and different marine life. But again, a chance to educate both the lower schools and the upper schools about why it's so important to maintain this as a stormwater, as well as recreational ending.
Wow. Yep. You work tirelessly on this. I am amazed at how much time and energy you have put into all of it. This afternoon, you've got students coming out. Is that correct? Are you going to re-evaluating?
We're going to the next step. Now it's a chance. We've had these in. These have been in 3 years. A little over 3 years now. So this whole area has had over 38 mini-reefs put in it. So we're bringing in new college. Dr. Samantha Levy and her marine biology students from New College to come in and do bacteria testing, to do species inventories, to look at the overall water quality. Now, don't have high expectations because of the 2 storms. So I'm sure I'm going to try to things play.
Afraid we've lost some of them.
Right, but more that the water quality won't be what we expect.
Oh, right.
Right now, my plan is we come back again, perhaps maybe it's fall when things are calm. So we try to do a little bit of both. But the first thing is inventory. What are we actually getting? We know we see stone crabs once in a while. So we do get a few of those in. I know oysters have been propagating on them, but is there any difference in the water quality where we put them in and where we don't have? So that's one of the things we're doing.
Like now, New College is going to start coming out and evaluating that on a regular basis?
Yes, that's the plan. But every 6 months, we want to do it for a period of time with these students so they can start to get experience and they can test our water as well. They can do the phosphate testing, bacteria testing. We do things like we test as well. We do how much salt is in the water because it's so critical. Since it gets rainwater and all the runoff, we want to make sure it's got enough salinity in it to be able to support marine life. So we bought tools ourselves. We paid for those and purchased those, and we use those. And we go out, we do water testing about once a month. And we do it in different areas. So Palm Island, Siesta Isles, and here. There's the three areas right now we're doing it.
I thought you said you were retired.
I am.
This is you.
Next year is more retirement. I'm trying to move back to the next level.
Well, hopefully some of the students that you're working with can pick up and continue this and continue the work.
Yeah, I have also the team. I mean, I haven't done this alone. Like Phil Chocchio is absolutely marvelous. He handles a lot of our camera work. Becky Snyder, she has been awesome. She brought in a whole level of skills up in the area of video recording is how to make them better. She's been excellent. And then, of course, Dave Alosi and Ken Larson have been our water testing and chemical guys. Dave has a lot of government experience as how to organize. So the combination of the four of those people have made us reasonable, really reasonable. Helps a lot. You got to do it as a team. You can't do it all by yourself.
Is this something that students that are working to get their high school degrees, so they have to have the volunteer hours? Is this something they could do to get volunteer hours?
They get volunteer hours in some cases. Some of them, if they're marine biology students in the high school, they come and do some of their projects. Some of the school students have chosen different kinds of, like one wanted to see what kind of ropes would grow oysters, what would be more friend-led or attached. So she took 4 or 5 different experiments and put them in 3 different, same area, but in 3 different locations to see which one did best. So those different people come to do different things, and we try to work with them. We encourage that kind of support input. Yes.
Well, thank you, Jean. Thank you for all the things you do, for the work you put in. Thank you for coming out here.
Yes.
Beautiful outdoors. We've got the canals in the background here. Correct. Well, and if anybody has questions, they can reach out to you.
Absolutely, and they can get me through Siesta Key Association. You can the website or send a note through the info line if they have any questions or want any more information.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
The final segment is brought to you by the law offices of Eric Fleming, specializing in real estate closings. Mr. Fleming is also the current president of the Siesta Key Chamber of Commerce. And by Gilligan's Island Bar and Grill. Experience the heartbeat of the Siesta Village's dining and social scene.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that podcast as much as I enjoyed making it. A lot of great information. Really happy to see that Siesta Key Real Estate is doing good and that we're on track to stay pace and have an even better year in 2025 than we did in 2024. And Jean, she is just amazing. That woman never ceases to amaze me. She's always got so much going on and she's so energetic. So thank you for listening to yet another podcast. Stay sunny, Siesta. We'll see you next week.
Siesta Sand Live is broadcast from Captain Kurt's Village. It's Siesta Key's home to great food, great drinks, great music, and great times. Look for the giant American flag. Siesta Sand Live is broadcast from Captain Kurt's Village. It's Siesta Key's home to great food, great drinks, great music, and great times. Look for the giant American flag.